Hello, folks. It's Primetime James Thomas coming to another video. And today I want to discuss the news, the blockbuster news. WWE dropped on us a couple days ago, where they have officially announced that at the start of 2026, at the very beginning of 2026, all PLEs, we're talking about WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series. Can you call Survivor Series still a big four pay-per-view still? I don't know at this point. But all these shows are exclusively going to be aired on ESPN after the deal with Peacock ends, which will be in early 2026. Okay, you're probably thinking, okay, it's fine. Makes sense, right? They've been teasing this WWE ESPN collaboration for a while now because you see a lot of WWE stars on ESPN. Now, here's the catch though. Instead of the $10 to $16 you would pay a month to see the PLEs on Peacock, they have decided to up the charge from $10 to $16 a month to $29.99 a month to watch these shows if you want to see it on ESPN. Now, when I heard that, ladies and gentlemen, I made the conscientious decision in my head to say to myself, I am not going to follow WWE in this venture. Now, of course, people came to me and said, well, James, you come from a time when, WWE pay-per-views, little PLEs or pay-per-views were $40 to $60 to see them. Yes, you're right. I come from that old traditional pay-per-view model. Yes, you're right. But here's the thing. This is how people, especially for those who didn't have money, was able to get by. You see, I'm 31 years old, and I come from an era where you had to, in order to see a pay-per-view, that's what they were called, pay-per-views, you had to pretty much beg your parents to see them. Right? You had to beg your parents to see them if you wanted to see Rock versus Austin, if you wanted to see The Rock defeat Triple H for the WWF Championship, if you wanted to see, John Cena and Randy Orton, yes, you had to order the pay-per-view. You had to ask your parents to watch it. Now, for me, I come from a household where, me and my family did pretty good. Okay, my father had a good job, mom had a good job. We were able to afford pay-per-views. Yeah, we were. But however, though, whenever the days when I couldn't get the pay-per-views, where I couldn't see them, you either had these options. You either had to know somebody who ordered the pay-per-view, and you would have to ask your parents to go over to their house to watch it. Ask the parents to come over and watch it, and have the parents come pick you up after the show. Good old days. You either go to a friend to watch it, or you would ask a friend to. You remember the VHS recorders where you pop the VHS in and you have to record record the show. That's how we used to do them back in the day. You would either have the friend record the show for you, and then they would give it to you after school or at school the next day. That's one way to see the show. Or, of course, you have to take the long approach and wait till Monday Night Raw to finally see the result. And if you really, really want to see the show, you would have to wait for either the VHS or you have to wait for the DVD. We had this thing called Blockbuster or Family Video, depending on where you live, and they had a wrestling section where they had all the wrestling tapes. See, that's how I started becoming a fan of wrestling. I would go to the Blockbuster, Family Video, and rent the tapes of all the pay-per-views that I've never watched, that I've never seen. That's how I kept up with the product, by going to the video store and renting out tapes. I remember one time, the very first VHS wrestling show I ever rented, or my parents let me rent, was SummerSlam 1998. And I thought that show was so damn cool. That's how I kept up and watched the shows I wanted to watch. That was our version of the network or seeing old shows. We had to go outside and go to the video store and get them. That's how it was done. These kids have no idea how good they have it. So now you fast forward to 2020, 2014, 13, and the WWE Network comes out. And I had the network. I had to wait till they had to put all the old Raws. That was pretty much the only reason why I wanted to watch the network, just see the old Raws, old SmackDowns, and pretty much relive the glory days. But when I finally subscribed, it was perfect. It was everything that I needed. It was everything I needed in one spot. And it was only $9.99 a month. Just $10, which it's $10. Not a big deal. Now you fast forward to 2025, 2026, and you're asking me to go back to that old way of $30 a month, especially during a time when the pay-per-views aren't that good. Creative isn't that good, and there's no guarantee that the people that I do like are even going to be on the show. We're not guaranteed that CM Punk is going to be on these shows. We're not guaranteed that Brock Lesnar is going to be on these shows. And John Cena, he's going to be retired by the time this deal kicks into gear. So you're telling me I'm pretty much got to settle for $30 a month for Solo Sikoa and Damian Priest? No way. No way. I'm not going back. So this is a great business move for WWE. They're going to get $1.6 billion guaranteed, regardless how the pay-per-views perform. And you, the fans, will be spending $30 for ESPN. And if you're into sports, you're into NFL Red Zone and all that kind of stuff, you're going to get all of that. You're going to be happy. But for me, I don't care. Okay? ESPN has not been, ESPN has been garbage. ESPN has been trash for the past past decade, maybe 10, 15 years. I'm not spending $30. I'm not spending $30 on ESPN. I'm not spending $30 on Disney for $30, but it adds up. So I say to myself, maybe, just maybe, I will do $30 for Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam. And if they have a big B level that I think is really important, I'll spend the $30 for those shows individually. But just like I pay for Peacock, and I barely use that. And I wouldn't use, and I don't use Netflix. I don't see the benefit for paying $30 for ESPN. And of course, you'll be called cheap whatsoever. People say, "Oh, you broke whatsoever." Look, they don't understand. Well, again, when I bought WWE Network, it had everything I wanted. It was on WWE Network. I wanted to watch all the ECW pay-per-views that I'd never seen, all the NWA shows, the AWA shows, all the WCW pay-per-views I'd never seen. I got to really go back and look at some of the old Raws that I remember, that I saw when I was a kid, the old SmackDown. The WWE Network was worth it. Everything you wanted was in one place. Now they have separated these things. There's no guarantee that the Vault is even going to be available on Netflix. I'm sorry, on ESPN. And all the Raws are not available on Netflix. So that tells me they're probably going to upload some stuff on YouTube. But that's because they've already started doing that. They got a bunch of WCW whole pay-per-views have been put up on the WCW Vault. They've got WWF pay-per-views that they're putting up. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? If you go to ESPN, you're only getting modern stuff. And the modern stuff, I'm wishy-washy on that. $30. If I had to pay $30 for this past SummerSlam, I'd be much more angry. I would have been pissed if I had to pay $30 for this past SummerSlam. If I had to pay $30 for this past SummerSlam, for this past WrestleMania, I'd be furious. A lot of people would be furious. It's not 1995 anymore. If it's 1995, I don't care. I want to see the show. I don't care who's in the main event. But it's 2025, man. I'm not. There is no blockbuster that you could patiently wait, even though Raw is going to spoil everything anyway. But I don't care. I want to watch the matches, then I'm fine. In this situation, there's going to be opportunities for me to watch the show live. So I don't see the reason to spend all the money for it. And here's another reason why I'm not really down with this endeavor. Because it seems to me that you just incentivized by going along, paying more, you incentivize them to continuously do this. I mean, when people complained about ticket prices and the buildings stay full, you can't complain about ticket prices anymore because people are paying that cost. So it justifies to them that they're doing the right thing. Yes, the average person, the blue collar average guys paying more tickets, paying more for his son to take his son to the wrestling show. I mean, I don't like that. I think that actually curtails fandom. And you'll probably see, we'll see in 10 years what ends up happening. You know, kids don't get these shows anymore because TKO has cut house shows. They've raised ticket prices and they don't come to certain markets. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to maintain that fandom. We'll see in 10, 15 years how that turns out. But once again, take a WWE as something that was affordable to the average person, where a regular working guy would not mind letting, his son's friends come over to watch the shows for free, or they wouldn't mind going to the shows and paying tickets for it. So my dad used to do that all the time. Whenever WWE would come to Iowa or Moline, Illinois, and tickets were affordable, he would have no problem getting those tickets, especially for good seats. It meant 2003, 2004, you get a good front row ticket for like, what, 200, 100, 300 bucks at the most? Now, everybody has ESPN in their pocket and paid the 30 bucks. That's what I'm saying, pay the 30 bucks. I'm not paying the toll, okay? I don't want to. I don't want to incentivize them to continuously take the brand away from its target audience. Nick Khan and his obsession with ESPN, ever since he took control of the company, full control, he has done nothing but try to make it more and more and more like ESPN. They even admitted it later on. I think Mark Shapiro, one of these tiny hats that works for Endeavor, I forgot what he does for them, but I don't really give a shit. But he said, well, we could have got more than the 1.6 billion, but we wanted to partner up with ESPN for the brand strength. No, you wanted to partner up with ESPN because Nick Khan is obsessed with turning WWE into some ESPN products. This is why you brought in Lee Fitting, who used to work in ESPN. This is why every Raw you have people walking in with their Starbucks cups backstage, because that's what they do in basketball games and football games on ESPN. This is why he wanted to have announcers who used to work at ESPN. Over and over and over again, this has been coming. Nick Khan is obsessed with two things: Las Vegas and ESPN. And now we've seen he snatched WrestleMania away from Minneapolis to take it to Las Vegas, jipping the fans of Minneapolis because they're not a big city. Now you can put big city in quotation. Minneapolis is a big city, but it's not on the same level as Las Vegas. I'm talking about big market when I say big city, okay? So you take that from them, and now you took Raw from, if you have cable, you can just watch Raw on USA on Monday nights. You took that away from them. You took Monday Night Raw from us and put it on Netflix. So, but most people do have Netflix, so you can't really complain too much about that. But I don't think most people have ESPN to be paying their digital streaming service. You have ESPN on cable. You have ESPN on regular cable, but I'm not going to pay any extra money because I don't want to pay for something for free when pay for something you get it for free on blah 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 or whatever. I'm not subscribing to all this shit, man. Are you kidding me? You gotta be shitting me. I got to subscribe to this to get that for free. I got to subscribe over here to get something over here and discount over here. This is worse than cable. It's worse than cable. Now you got to have 8 different streaming networks just to follow the product and cable TV because SmackDown is on cable. What? At least Tubi is free. No, look, I want everyone to get paid. I'm a capitalist. I don't care. But I think that when the company is trying to move away from its target audience, which is middle to lower class people who don't have the kind of finances that, oh yeah, we're going to take the company from you and move it to these big corporations that are going to charge you triple what you're paying now or triple what you would normally pay. If this was, 2014 again $9.99, that's how much network costs. They tripled it. Now it's $30. And it's not like the product is so much better now than it was then. Like, come on. There's no way. So as soon as I heard about the ESPN deal, it just took me back to being a kid and saying, man, I remember the days of I want to watch this. How am I going to watch it? Am I going to go to my friend's house? Am I going to have to wait till Blockbuster? Will my parents think, I've been nice enough to let me see the pay-per-view? Even though I was always able to find out, I always found a way. Now I just got to find a way. Because this ESPN thing, unless something changes, it doesn't look like it's a good move for me. For a couple of weeks, it just isn't. And I'm pretty sure for the people that, again, are struggling in this economy with inflation, it's not a good move for them. And this is not easily accessible. Wrestling is at its best when it's easily accessible. And this is not easily accessible. For me, wrestling's always been for the lower income individuals, affordable family entertainment. Now, I don't know what it's for. It's a vehicle for the tiny hats to make a ton of money. And hopefully the boys make a whole lot of money out of this deal. And they're making money hand over fist, and I can't blame them. I don't vilify them for what they're doing. But I do say, hopefully their instincts are correct. Because funny enough, you just made Vince McMahon look like the man of the people. Having house shows in small markets, even if it costs them money, offering the product for a cheaper price, but for wider distribution. These sorts of things are, they continue to grow the brand and grow the fandom. Now we're hearing WWE making these billion-dollar deals that the product has become more and more niche. Now people are struggling to figure out how to keep up with all this stuff. How are you going to keep up with all these streaming services? How are you going to keep up with all these different products and programs? And it's more difficult now than it was when I was a kid. When I was a kid, you could get by. You could get by just by watching Raw or SmackDown. All I had to do was watch Raw, SmackDown, and Jacked and Sunday Night Heat. It was all free on cable. It was Raw, SmackDown. Then it'd be like Jacked, or later on it'd be like Velocity. You know, Sunday Night Heat. I think at one point they had the show called WWF Experience or WWE Experience, where they play like Sunday morning, like 10 o'clock in the morning. It was called WWE Experience. That's how I kept up with the products, even by watching the B-level shows. It's difficult now. I cannot imagine being a kid today and trying to keep track of WWE. I mean, maybe mom and dad maybe already got Netflix. Maybe dad's already paying for ESPN. Maybe. But if you're not one of those people who's already paying for it, so you don't mind this, for people who now have to try to figure out, I got to add this to my budget, bullshit. No way. No way. The line has to be drawn somewhere. And doubling and tripling the amount of money that we have to spend while giving us less product, because the entire vault is not going to ESPN. Only the pay-per-views and only the modern day pay-per-views. So they're giving you less products for more money. Just think about that, people. When WWE Network shut down, they didn't even port everything to Peacock. It took a while. Then Peacock ended up with around the same amount of stuff with WWE Network. But then they started editing shit, right? As soon as they went up to Peacock, they started doing this editing thing, and people was grumbling about that because certain segments were cut out, certain pay-per-views, music was changed, a bunch of other stuff that had not happened over on the network and was now happening on Peacock. Like, what the hell are they gonna do on ESPN? Have you thought about that? ESPN could have their own standard for practices. How are the pay-per-views going to, and the presentation going to change? Look, and then furthermore, not just personal finances, brand strength, fandom, I also consider this. ESPN sucks, all right? ESPN is one of the most wokest, stupidest fucking networks. They spent almost a decade shitting all over men and making a mockery out of sports. What do you think they're going to do with WWE? You think just because it's going to be on SportsCenter? SportsCenter is trash compared to what it used to be. Oh, it's going to be Stephen A. Smith and Pat McAfee. They're going to be on the pre-shows whatsoever. Who gives a shit? Stephen A. Smith is a moron idiot. Entertaining, yeah. But do you really want to see Stephen A. Smith on a WWE show? You really want to see him on the pre-show? Oh, Jake, guys, I'm telling you right now, Cody Rhodes is the man. He's got to show up. He's got to step up. When he gets in that ring with Brock Lesnar, he needs to. Bro, come on. It's already enough to. It's already bad with Pat McAfee screaming and yelling at us on these pay-per-views. Imagine Stephen A. Smith, man. As a kid, I would have loved to have seen WWE on ESPN when I was a kid, when I was 10, 11, 9 years old. Because that's when ESPN was still good. Now? Hell no. ESPN is the shits. They have a lot of money, sure. They have a big platform, absolutely. But the quality of the brand had diminished so far in the last several years. It's actually an embarrassment. ESPN is an embarrassment compared to what it used to be. So I'm not that thrilled about WWE partnering up with ESPN. But we'll see. I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm willing to give everybody a chance. Just I don't see myself spending money like that. Okay, I'm already spending enough on everything else in my real life. I'm not gonna spend as much money on wrestling. The line has to be drawn somewhere. I've said it. Tony Khan, you're charging 60. Tony Khan is charging $60 for these pay-per-views. Go to hell. It's not happening. And AEW is even a more niche product. It wants to be a niche product. WWE is supposed to be worldwide leader, the McDonald's of pro wrestling. You can't be the McDonald's, the Walmart of pro wrestling, and you want to have Gucci prices. You're not going to get the right audience. You're just not going to get the right audience. We'll see in 5 or 6 years whether I'm right or not. And if I'm wrong, then well, I don't work there anyway, so it didn't cost me anything. But if I'm right, you're going to see wrestling fans fall off you're going to see the wrestling fan fall off a cliff. Families will stop spending the money to go to these shows, and they stop spending the money to get these shows, to follow these brands around from different streaming services. There's a line everyone must cross, and I think we crossed the line a long time ago. People got rid of cable because eventually they said, "Well, shit, I'm not getting anything for this cable program. If all I'm paying for $30 is for a 10 to 12 inch you do per year, and that's it. I don't get to watch the old WrestleManias. I don't get to watch the old Starcades or nothing. I don't get none of the old ECW products. I don't get none of the territorial products. And then we haven't even discussed ad revenue. Are there going to be ads on these things? Oh, well, it's probably not going to be ads because no, every product has a free ad tier, right? Peacock's supposed to have it, Netflix is supposed to have it, and guess what? And you still get ads. You still get ads. They still go to commercial. So they're still padding the product because even if you have the ad-free tier, other people don't. So you're going to pay for less product and more ads. That's a pass, dog. I'm sorry. That's a pass for me, dog. Again, maybe if the product actually gets good, that's worth it, or I get a huge raise, that'll change my mind. But as it stands right now, that ESPN WWE thing is dead to me. I'll cancel my Peacock as soon as this is over, and then we'll just have to watch whenever they upload on YouTube. That's that. As far as new events, I may have to find a way. Let's put it like that. But let me know what you guys think about this ESPN WWE deal. Some are excited because they are very much into sports. They already paid for it. They just cut out Peacock, and that's just one less thing to have to pay for. But some of us don't have ESPN. They may have a cable package that may already have ESPN, but I don't think I do. So we'll have to figure that part out. But let me know what you guys think. Hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll talk to y'all later. This is ridiculous. Peace out, y'all.